Interest Rate Roundup, and I'm here with Natuzza Dimasi from William Raveis here in Connecticut. And I asked Natuzza here to go over a few different things about the current housing market. I thought it would be interesting to get a realtor's perspective about what's going on so we can get some more information for buyers, sellers. And what kind of prompted this was back in May, I had read a lot of articles indicating that for the first time since about 2009, we're seeing a greater share of purchase applications in the market as opposed to refinance applications, which is indicative that we're moving more towards a buyer's market as opposed to a seller's market. What are your thoughts?
Well, as of right now, it's definitely a buyer's market because the inventory is so high. Between May and August is prime time for sellers to put their house on the market. And they do it because a lot of families with kids want to get into the school system. And then once we get into November, it kind of dies down for a couple months just because of the holidays and people don't really want to move.
Would you say that business is a bit easier when it's a buyer's market, or would you say it's a bit easier when it's a seller's market?
Well, it's hard to say. Right now, I think that people are a little bit more happier with the way that the economy is. They feel a little bit more relaxed. It's kind of turning around, so to speak, but I think the sellers are still feeling that they can sell their house for top dollar, and that's not the case. But I also think that a lot of buyers are going to look at houses that they're not comfortable with putting in an offer in on. Maybe it's a little bit too high. They think that the seller is in a desperate situation that they can end up selling so that they can get a better deal. First-time home buyers, they get a little bit nervous. There's a lot of hand-holding when it comes to the first-time home buyers, which a good real estate agent will help them with all that.
And now the first-time home buyers that you are seeing, I know we've talked a lot in the blog about how we're seeing our first-time home buyers are generally a little older. They most likely aren't married just because student debt and everything's being delayed. Are you seeing the same actually out in the market? Are you seeing that your first-time home buyers are, in the high 20s to mid 30 range?
Yeah, I see a lot of professionals, and they're, in the high 25, over 25 years old, that are buying their first property.
What would you say the market's made up of now? Is it mostly first-time home buyers? Is it people who, have purchased a home and they're now looking to buy up, so to speak? What would you say is characterizing it?
It's funny. I think it's all across the board. You have the new professionals that are coming out of college and they want to obviously end up buying, want to get out of their parents' house. I also see families that are in smaller houses, and now because the economy the way that it is, they're able to afford to go up to the next level. So they're able to get into a nicer area and in a bigger house, so they're upsizing. So I'm actually seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I had read an article recently that indicated that things have remained somewhat consistent for your average home buyer, but we're seeing a lot of increases for buyers looking to move into what we'd consider the jumbo price range, our homes over $400,000. Are you seeing that this has been increasing?
Yeah, I do. I'm going through that right now with a couple of sellers and buyers. And I do see that, and I think, again, it's because they're feeling a little bit more confident with the economy, and they're feeling a little bit better with their job situation. They know that their job isn't going to change, and that the interest rates are lower, so they could afford a little bit more than they could have, in years past. So yeah, you definitely are seeing a lot more people that are buying higher priced houses.
And now you mentioned that these buyers who are kind of purchasing up, so to speak, one of the things they're looking at are a bit lower interest rates. Are you seeing that across the market? Are you seeing buyers that are interest rate conscious at all, or is that something that's more kind of in the background when they're making their purchase decisions?
I think that when we had the time when the interest rates were very, very low, it was very busy. But obviously it was busy for refinances more than it was for purchases. So I think that they are very conscious of the interest rate, but I think that anything below 5 is still a great deal.
Absolutely. I think you're definitely right in saying that. People seem to be kind of pretty content with rates as they are. And given everything we've talked about, what would you say are going to be the biggest challenges in the months coming forward for both just the market in general, or buyers, sellers, all parties involved?
Well, first of all, I think that sellers have to be realistic with their pricing. I also think that buyers have to be realistic with their offers too, because they are coming in a lot lower. I think what we're going to see is that some of the houses are going to stay on the market past the September, October, because in this business, once we say the turkey's cut in November, then forget it, because it will be dead from November, December, and going into January. So sellers have to really price their house to sell if that's the route that they want to take.
I think that's some really great advice. Thank you so much
you're welcome. Thanks for having
stopping
me.
by and chatting with me. I think that'll be really helpful for
hopefully
all of our viewers.
I give some good advice, and people will go out and keep buying in Connecticut.